Welcome back. So, Libros, we're talking about the knack for celebration in Nigeria.
A knack for celebrating an anniversary, will not allow the governors and the, government not to declare May 29 public holiday. There will always be activities. You see, we celebrate 100 days, we celebrate 1 year, we celebrate 3 years, and all of that. But the June 12th, now what the government had done is to, mark a day to celebrate that day as the day Nigerians embraced, democracy. And then also begins to build on the ideas of democracy, from there. And then also quickly, let me add that, like Biodun has said, people talk about King Gibe, Babagana King Gibe, the fact that why should he also be honored? If you cannot separate King Gibe and Abiola from the history of June 12th. Forget whatever happened thereafter. And so, like I said, what government is discussing now is the history of June 12 and not the ideologies. It is when you begin to talk about the ideologies of June 12, a lot of people who rode on the crest of June 12 to get into office, we fall aside. But the history, you can't write that history without the name Abiola and King Gibe. And so, it also to create that balance, that north and south balance, if you honor the one from the south and then leave the one from the north, you also create that tension. Especially now that you're moving into election. So, but now we need to now begin to build on those ideologies of June 12th. Transparent election, hope for the people, security, eradication of poverty, and then creating the balance, the imbalance you have currently. Once you begin to do that, yes, we truly, show to the world that yes, we're embracing democracy and what democracy actually stands for.
Okay. Now, the other. Is there a sense in which, do you believe that this declaration is going to affect the 2019 elections? And I'm saying, think back. Remember the spirit of the nation in 1993 when we went out to vote. The excitement, the whole thing surrounding that day for Nigerians. Do you think we can achieve that in 2019?
Oh, I would say that would be a tall order. But we can begin the process now, which is what the president has done. What you realize is that there is if you look at Buhari's popularity in 2015 compared to now, it's been going down.
Yeah.
And what they've done with this announcement is to halt the slide downwards. They've been able to halt it. So what we need to do is the government needs to build on that if they are to make any lasting impact.
Yes.
And one of the ways in doing that is to take the lessons of June 12 as to they being represented, by the demand for restructuring. If Buhari is able to project beyond the recognition of June 12, the honoring of Gani Fawehinmi, which already is a massive one for civil society groups, and if he's able to push further, summon that political courage to take that next step, then we might eventually find ourselves again in 1993, because many people believed that without restructuring, you can't tackle youth unemployment, you can't tackle religious intolerance, you can't tackle the poverty pervading the country, you cannot settle, security issues. So for one reason or the other, even the unity of the country, and we need to move beyond where we are now and then move to the next stage, which is restructuring. And I'm glad the APC did set up a committee to look into restructuring and how to implement it. Whether they call it restructuring, call it devolution of power, call it federalism, call it true federalism, whatever you call it, we know what it means, which is whittle down the power at the center and empower the states, or whether you want to call them states or zones, it does not matter. What people want to see is more meaningful governance, in their lives, and those are the major issues. So we need, beyond the celebration of today, which has managed to halt the slide downwards, the government needs to build on it in order to project to the future. But that does not mean, because some people are saying that, look, the government did it for political, Buhari did it to have a political leverage or something. What is wrong in that? I will subscribe to what Libra says. It says some other people had the opportunity to do it. And to be fair, Jonathan tried to do it. He only got it wrong because there was no consultation. He went about with MAU, which is trying to rename University of Lagos, to Moshood Abiola University, in his own way of trying to, address the issue of June 12. But because there was lack of consultation, he did not even realize at that time that you could not even do that without changing the law, that established University of Lagos. So that went wrong. It went wrong. So some other people have tried it. What the difference we've seen now is that there was some consultation on what would be acceptable to the people.
Mr. Iketuku, the issue of consultation and processes, there are those who are concerned that the process was not duly followed in this announcement of June 12 as Democracy Day and the award of awards. What do you think of that, even though there's a lot of celebration? What's your take on that position?
Sorry, just a point before my take on that. One of the speakers had referred to a Supreme Court judgment on whether the dates could change. That by that interpretation, you step out of office on the eve of the day you were sworn in. I believe that Buhari can go further, enact whether presidential order, request for interpretation or whatever, take it not to the National Assembly for a reinterpretation to the Supreme Court and ask, what if we would want the, if it can be extended to June 12th? The measures can be taken. The point I'm making is it would be ideal if the swearing in of the next president would be on June 12th, so that Democracy Day will actually coincide with the day that Nigerians consciously and deliberately and for the first time opted for genuine democracy. Now, the matter of consultation, first thing to admit is that there clearly must have been better consultation now than was done during Jonathan's time. Secondly, the fact of limited consultation, if it exists, does not vitiate the wisdom of the decision taken. And so I don't see how it impugns the integrity, validity, or acceptability of the president's decision to endorse June 12th as Democracy Day. And when we speak of consultation, what do we really mean? Are we talking about the fact of consultation or the fact of an acceptable outcome by everybody? If you didn't consult, if I'm thirsty and you bring me a cup of water, should I reject the water because you didn't consult me before bringing it? I think that would be foolish. So let us not also play up what might appear significant, but which in fact will not detract from the value of the action taken. The truth of the matter is that it's acknowledged the will of Nigerians has happened on June 12th. The other truth also is that we cannot automatically assume that it will impact positively on the electoral outcomes of 2019 for the president, for a simple reason. There are too many things eating away at his credibility, and so unless he works simultaneously on them, he's not going anywhere with this decision. There's a perception of nepotism. There's total insecurity everywhere. There's poverty. There's hunger. There's also dishonest evaluation of its impact on the people and the suggestion that government is doing very well. Not everybody. You can make mistakes, but please admit them. So that banking on June 12, which is a commendable gesture, in a land where hunger is growing, where the value of the currency is declining, where there's greater insecurity, where even yesterday more people were killed in, is it Adamawa or Zamfara? You see, all of these things will detract. Because the question is, if you want to rouse Nigerians to the tempo of 1993, when June 12 took place, you must also take all the relevant variables into place. Is there more unemployment? All the answer to those questions are yes. And that's why also, sorry to digress, if you look at the reasons the National Assembly has given for wanting to impeach the president, I think most of the reasons are laughable. They are not specific. You want to impeach the president because there's unemployment, there's youth restiveness. What's the specificity of that line of action you want to take? There's insecurity, that is correct, but have you compiled the data showing the comparative figures on the basis of which you can say that the president can be accused of gross misconduct in the management of national security? So that's a digression. But back to the matter of consultation and June 12. I believe what we should do now is to concretize all the benefits that came from June 12, transparent electoral processes, the common will of Nigerians to recognize somebody and vote for him, not because of his religion or ethnic extraction or his wealth, and the rest of it. So if we now make a major issue of consultation and take it to town, my question would be, Supposing you establish that there wasn't wide enough consultation, does it remove the fact that this is a good decision? No.